Guess the reason here. So simple point, execution starts from main method. So the JVM is responsible to execute only main method. Always the program execution starts from main method. So the JVM is responsible to execute only the statements present in main method. Ratan, you declared M1 method. M1 is a user-defined method. User-defined method means we must call it. So user-defined method is directly not executing. We must call it. We must call the user-defined method, all user-defined method inside the main method. So clear, program execution starts from main method. The JVM is responsible to execute only the statements present in the main method. Ratan, I would like to execute my M1 method, my M2 user-defined method. We must call that user-defined method inside the main method. Inside the main method. Clear? As reason, in this example, I will call M1 method also. When we call M1 method, your M1 method also executed. So Ratan, how to call M1 method, Ratan? So check the example here. Tell me, M1 is instance method or static method? Obviously it is instance method. I would like to call public static void mains. Tell me, it is a static area or instance area? Static area, instance area, static area. So instance method, static area. Same area, different area. Obviously it is a different area. If it is a different area, tell me how to access. Through object or directly na? Different area means always think about object. So already in this example, in this method already object is created. Which object here? T object is already created. By using T object, can you please call T dot method name is what? M1 method. So SOP of T dot A value is printed, B value is printed, T dot M1 means M1 is executed. Now tell me, in this case, it is print the output how many times? Code is compiled, fine. So Java, what is the class name here? Test class, output is printed. How many times data is printed here? 100, 200, 100, 200. So concentrate. This example is very important regarding the variables. So instance variables, when memory allocated here? So memory allocated. So memory allocated. Tell me, when object is created. When memory destroyed here? When object is destroyed. When object is destroyed. So here memory destroyed. This is information about our instance variables. It's very simple here, instance variables. So instance variables, clear? So up to now we discussed local variables and instance variables. Tell me any doubt. So in the videos you're unable to ask the doubts also. So anyhow, good. I hope everything is fine. So always check the areas. It seems to be little bit heavy in the video class. So check the videos 1 or 2 times. So 1 time is more than enough. If you want, attend to listen the video 1 more time. Anyhow, so I hope everything is fine. So clear? Always check which variable, which area. Same type of direct access, different type of access by using object. So instance is always linked with the object. When we create the object, then only memory allocated. Ratan, I am not creating object, Ratan, memory is not allocated. This is information about our instance variables. So clear? So here now local variables are completed, which are declared inside the method or constructor blocks. So instance variables are completed, which are declared inside the class outside of the methods. And how many areas in print Java? 2 areas, instance and static area. If it is the same area, direct accessing is there. If it is a different area, how to access? By using object. Access by using object. The last one we will discuss. What is the last one? Tell me. Static variables. What is the last one here? Static variables. So coming to static variables. Instance variables inside the class. Local variables inside the method. And what is a static variable, Ratan? coming to static variable here, the variables which are declared inside the class outside of the methods only with the static modifier. Extra is a static modifier is added. In the next example, we will discuss what is the exact difference between the static variable and instance variable. In project level, where exactly we are using instance and static, we will discuss in next examples. So first basic example I cover. What is the basic example here? The variables which are declared inside the class outside of the methods with which modifier? Static modifier. Those variables are called static variable. Clear? Good. So if you want, I will declare here only, here itself, class name. Inside the class I declared integer a equal 10, I declared integer b equal 20. So void m1, this is my user defined method is there. So I declared main method. So void main method with some implementations are there. Don't think about implementations, I will implement programmatically. So AB, so obviously we declared inside the class outside of the methods. Which variable? Instance variable these two are. So just to add the modifier, what the modifier here? Static. These two variables are called what? Static variables. The variables which are declared inside the class outside of the methods with the static modifier, these two variables are called which variable here? Static variables. These two variables are called what? Static variables. So clear? This is static variable. Tell me local variables when memory allocated? When method start, memory allocated. When method is completed, memory destroyed. So instance variables when memory allocated is linked with the object. When we create the object, memory allocated. When we destroy the object, memory destroyed. Coming to static variables when memory allocated. Static variables when memory allocated. The simple point regarding static variables when memory allocated. Concentrate here. To execute the application, execute the class, what is the command name? Tell me. Java class name. What is the class name here? Test class. Enter button. So to execution, for execution, Java class name you are using. Execute the application like that. So to execute the like that, when you are trying to execute the class, JVM performs two actions. In the first application, I already completed this point. When you are trying to execute this class, JVM performs how many actions here? Two actions. Action number one, JVM loads dot class file bytecode into memory. Loads dot class file. After loading the dot class file, JVM calls main method to start the execution. JVM calls which method? Main method to start the execution. When we are trying to execute the class, JVM performs how many actions here? Two actions. Action number one, JVM loads corresponding dot class file bytecode into memory. After loading the dot class file bytecode into memory, which one? It is calling main method to start the execution. In this scenario, so the first step is Java dot class file is loading. So the static variables memory allocated when we dot class file is loaded. The static variables memory allocated when the dot class file loading. Instance variable method is called. Local variables method is called. Instance variable object is created. Static variables when the dot class file is loading. So static variables memory allocated during dot class file loading. Clear? Good. There's information on static variable. What is the scope of the static variables, Ratan? So the scope is obviously within the class, you can access anywhere else. Local within the method, instance within the class, static also within the class. That is information about your static variable. Now what is the permission of the static variables? I will write the permissions here. Check the permission. My application contains either static variables. My application contains static variables and static methods. Obviously, how many areas here? Two areas. One is static area. The second one is the instance area. Total how many areas are there? Two areas. One is the static area, one is the instance area. Now tell me, static variables and methods when memory allocated? Dart class file loading. So dart class file loading before main method calling. So dart class file is loaded before main only. Obviously, dart class file loading time static variables methods memory allocated. That is the reason access the static variables and methods by using class name. So how to access, whether it is a static area, whether it is instance area wise no problem. Whether it is any type of area, how to access a variable? Access by using what? By using class name. Whether it is instance area or static area, don't bother about areas. We can access the static variables and static methods by using class name, enough. Always here in entire Java project, you can think one point. We are accessing static variable means it is obviously class name. So how to call static variables in Java? By using class name. So clear? This information regarding instance variable diagram, static variable diagram. So can please observe this permission, instance permission and static permission, instance area and static area. Once you know these 4 points very well, then your Java is completed here. Your Java is completed. So clear. There is information regarding your static variables and static methods. Clear? So practically I will implement this static variable. So check the screen once here. Static variables, the local is completed, instance is completed. The third one is the static variable. The variables, static variables. What do you mean by static variable? The first point, tell me what do you mean by static variable here? The variables which are declared, so inside the class, so outside of the method. Inside the class but outside of the method with the static modifier. The static modifier is called static variable. Tell me what is the scope of the static variable here? The scope is, so within the class, scope is always within the class, you can say. Number 3, memory allocation. Tell me static variables when memory allocated. So dot class file loading, so memory allocated when destroyed. So when destroyed means dot class file unloading, memory destroyed. Then where is the local variables are stored? The local variables are like static variables are stored. So you know local variables are stored in which memory? Obviously stored memory is which memory it is stored? Local variables are stored in stack memory. Instance variables are stored in, obviously object creation means, so stored in which memory here? Heap memory. Stored in, so heap memory. So static variables are stored in non-heap memory. Non-heap. So we will discuss these memory areas in later videos. This is information regarding local, instance and static. To programmatically implement the static variable, you know, this is my static method is there. This is my static method. This is static area, obviously. Remove the previous code and all. So good. This is my application. Good. I declared integer a equal to 1000. I declared integer b equal to 2000. I declared these variables inside the class, outside of the method. These variables are obviously instance variable. So declare the static modifier. This variable is called, which module we have? Obviously static variables. So whether it is instance area or static area, any type of area, tell me these variables are instance variable. Instance variable, this area is called which area? Static area. Whether it is instance area or static area, any type of area, tell me how to call the static variables in Java. How to call the static variables in Java? By using class name. So here I am calling that variable by using class name system.out.println. Tell me what is the class name here? Test class test.a. So control C, control V, test dot B. Variables are which type here? Static. Which area? Instance. Any area, no problem. It is any type of area. How to access? By using class name. Whether it is any type of area, we can access by using class name. You know, when I compile and execute this application, execution starts from main method called by JVM. So here, how many? What is the output here in this case? 1000, 2000 is printed. How many times? One time or two times? So last point already completed. So only one time is printed because the JVM is responsible to execute only main method. What about M1 method? We must do it. We must call it. So here, so do the compilation. Code is compiled, code executed. Code is compiled and executed. 1000, 2000. How many times here? One time. So in this example, we must call M1 method. Hey, we must call M1 method. We must call M1 method means while calling we must check the, so we must use the memory here. Memory use is very important, not programming memory. Your memory is very important. So in this example, use your memory. Which method we are calling, in which area we are calling. So your memory very important in this example. So if memory good, void M1 which method? Instance method. Which area? Static area. Instance method, static area. Don't blindly write these points. Check your last access permission diagram. So in the board I complete two diagrams. Check the two diagrams. So same area, different area. So instance method, static area, different area. Access by using object. But here there is any previous object here. There is no previous object. Here I am creating new object. Test t equal new test. I call t.m1 method. Good. So concentrate instance method, static area. So here control S. So do the compilation. Code is compiled, code is executed. 1000, 2000, 1000, 2000. This is information about your static variables. Always I believe only practical knowledge. Don't think about the theoretical manner. Believe the practicals. So programming is very simple from your side, but you are not attending the classes regularly. So we are not choosing the institute properly. There's reasons. So check my video. So any difficulties in this example? If you attend the live classes, it's become more powerful. So anyhow, very beautiful. Good. Static variables, instance variables, and local variables. The three different types of variables. So here I will repeat this all points one more time. Check it. So A is a variable of integer type. Variables are used to store the values. By using these values we are achieving the project requirement. Every variable must contain the type. That may be primitive type of variable, that may be a class type of variable, that may be enum type of variable, that may be a array type of variable. You know, class contains 5 elements: variables, methods, constructors, instance block, static block. Local variables declared inside the method or constructor or block. What is the scope of the local variable? Only within the method. Outside is not possible. When the memory allocated? When method starts. When method is released. These are stored in stack memory, obviously. The next one is what? Instance variable. Instance variables memory allocated, like instance, the variables which are declared inside the class outside of the methods. Those variables are called instance. Excuse me. The scope of the local variables, the scope of the instance variables inside the class, all methods, constructor and blocks. Memory allocated when object is created, memory destroyed when object is destroyed. So linked with the object, stored in heap memory. Obviously object means it is stored in heap memory. Instance variable, static area, same area. So same area, different area, access by using class object. If it is the same area, access directly. So check the permissions and all. The static variables declared inside the class, outside of the method only with static modifier. The scope is within the class. The dot class file loading memory allocated, dot class file unloading memory destroyed, stored in non-heap memory. So whether it is a static area or instance area, so obviously the static variables are stored in which memory? Obviously the static variables are stored in like non-heap memory, and the entire Java accesses the static variables by using class name. So clear? By using class name.